Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Allie. Before I get started with the video, I just want to let you guys know, full transparency here, I was sent this product by the company to review, so I didn't pay for these, but I'm not going to let that affect the fact that I'm going to be very honest about how I feel about the products. And yeah, I just want to let you guys know that this was sent to me and I'm still going to be very honest. And just because something was sent to me by a company doesn't mean that I'm going to be biased in any way. I'm going to be very honest with you and upfront and tell you what I feel about the company and the product in general. But what I'm going to be talking about today is Babylon fragrances. They did reach out to me and they did want to send me fragrances to test out and talk about in my channel, and I went ahead and told them that I would do it, and I am going to be talking about my experience with the company. And yeah, if that's something that you're interested in, definitely stay tuned. I'm gonna get started first off with the small ones that they sent me. I got one full-size bottle and I got two of the small ones. And I really do enjoy the travel sprays that they send these in. They say Babylon fragrances on them. They're cute, they're small, they kind of look like a lipstick in my opinion, but obviously a lot bigger. I believe you get like 7.5 ounces in this. So you get a nice little amount of fragrance. It pulls up like that, and you want to pull it, don't be like me and pull it from like here. You want to pull it from like this gold area and just pull it up. I ended up getting a scent Cersei, which is their interpretation of Tom Ford's Lost Cherry. So they do their own interpretations or clones of other really expensive niche and designer fragrances as well. So they're kind of like a clone house. And this is their take on Tom Ford's Lost Cherry. Now, I've talked about Tom Ford's Lost Cherry on my channel before. I've owned the bottle. And I've owned quite a few of other companies' interpretations. I've owned Dua's version. I've had samples of Be Layerd's version. And now I have this one that I have tried out for sure. What I can tell you right now, this is a lot brighter than any of the other ones I have ever tried. There's a brightness to this that is very, very bright. This one, before I get started, has notes of black cherry, bitter almond, cherry liqueur. You've got like this syrupy note in it, tonka bean, Peru balsam, cedar, sandalwood, Turkish rose, vetiver, and Chambec jasmine. Now, what I get from this one, I definitely get that Lost Cherry vibe, but in my opinion, this is a lot brighter. It's a bit lighter. It lasts on the skin, at least for me, about 7 hours. So the longevity is good. Is this my favorite by far? No. I've smelt ones that are better, like clones, and then just the original for sure is like probably one of the best aside from another one that I've tried. But it's definitely different also. So it has that like Tom Ford Lost Cherry DNA, but I feel like this is heavier on the jasmine in this because I do pick up more of a floral note, and it's not as powdery as the original. The original gives me a more like cherry liqueur makeup-y vibe. This one gives me more of a almondy jasmine vibe with a cherry note. And I want to say it's about 90% close to the original Lost Cherry that it's an interpretation of. But it's definitely not the closest one I've ever smelt from a company. Is it beautiful? Yes. If you've ever been interested in trying out Tom Ford's Lost Cherry, but it was maybe too dense and heavy for you, and you wanted something that smelt similar but a bit more floral, then I feel like this would be a good option because it's definitely more floral. It's not as dense, it's not as syrupy, it's not as heavy. And you do get more of a heady jasmine in this one as well. And it's nice. Isn't my favorite by any means? Probably not. But it's definitely a beautiful scent nonetheless. But it's definitely not my favorite from the scents I have here, but it's a really good one. And if you're looking into, like I said, Tom Ford's Lost Cherry, but wanted something maybe with a similar vibe, but a bit more floral, definitely check out this one. It's called Cersei from Babylon Fragrances. Now the next one that I'm going to talk about is another one that I got in a sort of travel size. This one is called Tobacco Rojo. which just translates to red tobacco. It pulls up just like that, and it has the name on there, Tobacco Rojo. It's got tobacco, vanilla, patchouli, rum, and exotic spices. You guys, this one is like a manly man scent. And it's intense. At first spray, this is really, really intense. It almost it gives off like a sort of really intense menthol vibe because of the combination of the rum and all the spices in this. And they list exotic spices, but my nose definitely picks up cinnamon and nutmeg. So if you're into cinnamon and nutmeg and fragrances, this is a really good one. I would say this is like extremely masculine, definitely really sexy on a man. Don't be afraid when you spray this because of the opening. It's very aggressive, it's very intense, it's very off-putting. It's sort of like Rhinoceros from the House of Zoologist, where at initial spray, it's very chaotic, it's very aggressive, it's very like deterring. I can see it deterring a lot of people, especially like this one in particular. I can see a lot of people being turned off by it by initial, spray. Give it a chance, let it settle on the skin. It becomes a really just beautiful kind of heavy on the tobacco, heavy on the vanilla, and a little bit of patchouli scent with this rum accord that adds a little bit of a booziness to it. It's really, really nice actually. It's very heavy on the tobacco with a very dry vanilla. It's not sweet in any way. It's a very dry vanilla. It almost reminds me of like a vanilla from Atelier Cologne, that Vanilla Incensi, I think is what it's called. Not too sure if that is what it's called, but it's the vanilla one in the Atelier Cologne line. And that's a very dry, non-sweet vanilla. And I sort of get that sort of same vibe from this vanilla. It's dry and it's not sweet, but it's still very much a vanilla scent. And more than anything, I get that tobacco, that vanilla with a little bit of rum and a lot of spice. Mainly picking up on some cinnamon and nutmeg in this one, but it's really, really good. This is beast mode. I sprayed it on myself the first day that I had it, and I was like, oh my god, like I was taken back. But then as it settled down on the skin, it became a lot more softer, still very potent. This one is like beast mode in my opinion. This lasted on my skin a solid 24 hours. After I showered, it was still on my skin. So this one will still linger on your skin, and if that's something that you are into and something that you want, then definitely check this one out because it's a really, really good one. And it's pretty beautiful. Don't be turned off by it, especially for my guys out there that want to try something that's like intense and aggressive. It is intense and aggressive. Give this a chance to settle down on the skin, and I promise you it becomes a really beautiful scent. Now, the one bottle that I requested from the company, because they gave me an option to request a bottle, was one that when I saw the notes for this one, it immediately made me think of a fragrance that I was obsessed with growing up. And that fragrance has been reformulated so many times that it's lost that original DNA that it was known for, that sort of gourmand component that it had. And it's really bummed me out because from time to time I grab this fragrance just to spray it on and get that nostalgia feel because it was the one that I really loved. And growing up, my parents didn't let me wear fragrance, and this was one that I would always like get a little spritz of when I would go to my cousin's house. And the fragrance that I'm talking about comes in this beautiful box. First off, all their like bottles come in these beautiful boxes with this ribbon. You sort of just pull the ribbon and it opens up, and the box sits in this beautiful like cloth lined box, and the bottle looks like this. It says Babylon Fragrances, and excuse me if I butcher the name, I think it's called Nenive. It's supposed to be one of their original creations, and you guys, this is a no joke, the OG formulation of Britney Spears' Fantasy. And like I said before, I was obsessed with this one growing up. My fans of Britney Spears' Fantasy, you guys know the original formulation before they ended up messing up the formula and like making it different was a very gourmand, heavy on the white chocolate and cupcake scent. This is literally the original formulation, and I am in love with this one. Out of all of the fragrances I got, I am like blown away. Granted, it's a celebrity scent, but you know, this was, for its time, it was unique. And when this came out, there was nothing really out there sort of like this that was like fruity and like gourmand at the same time. This one is amazing. It's got notes of kiwi, lychee, white chocolate, and jasmine. And you guys, this is gorgeous. This is like a watered down version of what it used to be. The new formulation of Britney Spears Fantasy is very light. There's almost no gourmand aspect to it anymore. They've like watered down the white chocolate note, that cupcake note that it was known for. It's almost not even there. It's super light. You get these sour kiwi and lychee sort of effect from this. But the kiwi in this fragrance tends to smell kind of weird after a while. And it's just not what it used to be. I used to be so obsessed with Britney Spears Fantasy, and it was so interesting and unique for its time. And like I said, from time to time I go and I grab this one and I'll spray it on for nostalgia reasons, but I'm always left really disappointed because there isn't that gourmand aspect that I grew up loving in the fragrance. And it was one of the first fragrances that made me really start loving fragrance when I was younger. But you guys, this one encompasses it so well. I'm gonna spray it on the back of my hand. Oh my god. You get that bright burst of that lychee and kiwi that the Fantasy was sort of known for. And then you start smelling this beautiful jasmine as it starts drying down. It's starting to dry down a little more now. You don't lose that kiwi. You're starting to smell a bit more of that jasmine. And this is where it gets good, you guys. That white chocolate note is like boosh. And it's so yummy. It's so gourmand. It's exactly like what I remember growing up Britney Spears Fantasy smelling like. I know I get like overtly excited about this, but it's only because like, you guys, I've been so disappointed with the fragrance that Britney Spears Fantasy for so long that it's kind of exciting that like they resurrected the fragrance and they've brought it back, especially right now that we're going to go into summer soon. This is definitely going to be one that I wear out in summer, especially if I want something a little bit more youthful, really playful, really yummy. This is gonna be such a compliment getter. Britney Spears Fantasy, the OG formulation, was always such a compliment getter, and I can see this one being exactly the same. It's really beautiful, and like I said, it's really pronounced on that white chocolate. As it dries down, you don't really lose that white chocolate note. It's always very present, and I absolutely love it. It's super yummy. It's fresh, it's fruity, it's chocolatey, but white chocolatey. And it's just a really beautiful summery scent. And I'm really happy that I chose this one. And like I said, when I had seen the notes, I was immediately like brought back to like that's Fantasy from Britney Spears. And I had to test it out to see if it was something that like was gonna bring that nostalgia factor back for me, and it really has. So my fans out there of Britney Spears Fantasy, if you love that scent, fear no more. Check this one out. I highly suggest out of all of them, you guys check this one out for the women. For the men, I love that Tobacco Rojo. Definitely check that out if that is your vibe and you want something intense, very manly, very just boom in your face. That's the type of guy you are. Check that one out. But for my girls, check this one out if you are a fan of Britney Spears Fantasy. I was a fan of it growing up, like I said. So this is definitely nostalgia factor for me and hits close to home. But till next time, you guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and those are my thoughts on Babylon fragrances. If that's something you guys are interested in, definitely check them out. I will link the company down below. And yeah, that's all I really have to say. Follow me on Instagram, like and subscribe to my channel. Tell me what you guys want to see. I will come up with more lists next week. And yeah, till next time, you guys, I will catch you guys later. Bye.